is identified by PIN 03-29-104-013. The legal description of the subject property is Lot 97 in Windsor's 5th addition to Sleepy Hollow in the village of Sleepy Hollow, Kane County, Illinois. All parties who have an interest in this proposal are encouraged to attend this meeting and provide testimony as appropriate, or may provide written testimony. Written correspondence should be directed to the Planning and Zoning Commission, CO the Village Clerk, 1 Thoroughbred Lane, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois 60118, or may be submitted electronically to amills@sleepyhollowill.org by 3 p.m. September 10, 2020. In light of the current COVID-19 public health emergency and the prohibition of large public gatherings, the Planning and Zoning Commission will allow the public to attend the meeting remotely. Social distancing and compliance with state requirements will be met. While every accommodation will be made to allow those who wish to be present, in-person attendance may be limited from time to time due to spacing requirements. Details regarding how to attend the virtual hearing will be posted on the village's website, http://www.sleepyhollowill.org, and posted at the village hall's front door at least 48 hours prior to the hearing. The application is on file with the Village of Sleepy Hollow's Clerk's Office, 1 Thoroughbred Lane, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois, and may be viewed at this location during normal village hall hours with prior coordination, as the village hall is currently closed to the public due to COVID-19. Inquiries regarding the application may be made with the code official at 630-816-8455. There ends the reading of the public notice.
Okay, I shall open the public hearing and we will accept all testimony related to the variance requested. Would you like to tell us what the problem is and why you're requesting a variance?
We're requesting a variance because our property is unique in the village of Sleepy Hollow with the fact that we don't have much rear yard. We have almost or just under 3/4 acres worth of property, but it's all side yard and so it makes it difficult to place a pool in the rear of the home. And so we would like to put it in the side yard. The side that we've picked for it is the side that's furthest away from the main street, and it's covered by some large pines that we have in the front of the home.
And the construction of the pool itself is the question. I mean, it's in place. You put it in place, and I take it you didn't get a permit to get the pool in place. Is that right?
That is correct.
Why didn't you get a permit?
That's not exactly, we did apply for the permit. Back before the pool went in, we applied for the permit. I'm not sure exactly where there was confusion. We felt like we had to go ahead for the pool. We thought the hang up was the deck. Whenever we did the pool, it was our error that we did not look into the decking requirements in Sleepy Hollow. And so we were expecting to put on a deck that just comes off of the pool. We didn't know about the 3 foot around. So whenever we started getting quotes to put in a deck that it would be, up to code, it was beyond what we could afford to pay. So at that point, we kind of stalled and figured that whenever we put the deck on, that we would have to obviously make the initial permit correct.
So you didn't think you needed a permit for the pool?
We applied for a permit for the pool. It was just never finalized.
They were told they couldn't have it where they wanted to have it, and it was put up anyway.
Is this
But it-
above ground or in ground?
It's above ground.
Is that correct? You were told you could not put the pool there?
I don't recall if it's being told.
It was explained and asked for a call back, and I didn't get a call back, and then the pool was there, so. And maybe they didn't get the message, I don't know.
I mean, if our intentions were truly to put up a pool without working with the village, we would not have applied for the permit in the first place. So we did not honestly get the call, or we absolutely would have called back and tried to figure it out, because we're not looking to incur any additional expense beyond putting on the deck and landscaping and all of that.
Now, I did, as with all these, go by and look at the property, just to get a perspective, so I know firsthand. So as you go into the cul-de-sac and to the right as you go around, I mean, you can literally see the pool from the side yard. So it's not hidden. It's very visual from the cul-de-sac as you go around. And whether you went this way or went to the left, or you went to the right, you would see it there. And it almost looks like it's leaning some too, was it? Or, I mean, is it level? Or
No,
it
it's
just
well,
may have been just the way I saw it. But, yeah, there's no, I don't think you have any stairs or you just have a ladder. Is that what you use right now? Yeah, there's no fencing, no nothing. So in a nutshell, I know we had gone through this years ago for a pool and, you know, the requirements were just too much and we just let it go, you know, when we applied. But I guess my concern is if you did apply for the permit, you didn't hear anything about it and now it's in the side yard. And in reality, it could be a safety factor too. And what is it, a 42-inch?
it's a 54-inch.
54, okay. I thought it was pretty big and it's aluminum, but I don't know how your neighbors think of it or what they think of it or anything, but I mean, it can be seen and it definitely is there. So, and again, if the call was made, I know, I don't want to get in the middle of that. I mean, here or there, but if you didn't get approval for it, if you hadn't gotten approval, then I think I would have hesitated. Plus, I saw out back, you said that you don't have much room out back. I saw out the back when I came through the cul-de-sac there and I went back out to the street and I took a look. It looks like to the right when you come out your back door to that area there, you have enough area possibly to put that pool because it doesn't look that, what's the diameter of it?
It's 27 foot.
27 foot? Okay.
I don't believe with the, is it 10-foot or 15-foot clearance that we have to have from all property lines? That's where, if we didn't have that, we could squeeze it into the back, but we can't meet that.
How far is it from the property line now? Anybody know?
It's 15 feet
15 feet?
according to the plan.
And it's actually further than that from the rear.
Are you on a septic or,
We have a septic. The septic is in the opposite yard, opposite side.
And to answer what you mentioned about the neighbors, we've spoken with all of the neighbors except one who was the latest one to move in. We haven't met them yet, but all of the other neighbors have no issue with the pool. Or obviously the proposed deck and
does the pool meet all of the requirements other than they didn't have a permit?
Except for it's sitting between two, the whole problem is according to the code, it can't be between two houses,
Okay.
which it is. Some people have enough side yard and the houses are offset that they theoretically could be in that area. But they're correct, they don't have sufficient rear yard, plus their expansion field is in that larger corner that you explained, plus they have two front yards because of being on both Deer and the cul-de-sac. So their property is extremely limited in what they can do with it as far as doing anything. Proposed deck that they have will meet the code once they put it in, but the challenge we have right now is the pool sitting where it's not supposed to be. So,
Where's the electric coming in at?
that part of the plan hasn't been formalized. Where do you have the electric coming in?
The electric is on the same side of the house. The pool does not sit on the electric.
10 feet away? Is it buried or is it
It's
overhead?
buried.
It's buried.
How far is it away?
It's 4 feet away from the side of the pool.
So it'd be underneath the deck when you get that in place?
We're thinking that they may have to header one support once they hand dig on one side.
So the underground electric is 4 feet from the pool edge?
Clarification, are you speaking the underground electric that was put in for the swimming pool, or are you talking your main power
I'm
line?
talking about my main power
Okay,
for the
main-
home.
okay, so the main power line is supposed to be much further than 14.
10 feet.
Yeah, minimum 10 feet.
And you'd find that out if you applied for the permit and the permit was issued.
again, the permit couldn't be issued because of the zoning requirements and the,
Was the opportunity given for a variance at that time? Or just,
they didn't respond back when I said I couldn't issue the permit because of outstanding zoning, and I didn't get a call back. I don't know if it didn't record, I don't know, but they didn't get a permit, therefore it should have hopefully run up some red flags that they didn't have authorization.
So there's more issues than just it being on the side yard that would have come up, such as the electric issue.
At such point as they had it duly, we would have found that out, which normally occurs just before construction. And it would have had to have been tweaked as far as where its location, but again, it would have probably been pushed even further out from the rear yard at that point.
so did you have the opportunity to see the electrical hookup to this pool for the pump and everything?
Nothing,
Okay,
no inspections have been made, again, no permit was issued. Those inspections are done as part of the required inspections for the installation of an above-ground pool.
So we are looking at giving approval for the variance of the location, but it still needs to fulfill all the obligations as if the permit were requested originally.
Correct.
So even if we approved the location, it may still fail due to the electrical line being not 10 feet away from the pool, et cetera.
And that would theoretically, okay, back up one more time. Is the main electric line that you're too close to towards your rear yard, towards your neighbor's swimming pool, or is it closer to the front yard?
Front yard.
Okay, so it may have to be shifted back slightly towards the rear yard, which they still have room to do.
Another 6 feet, for example.
Correct.
But then won't they come closer to the property line setback?
According,
Before we go to get into all these comments, shouldn't we finish the testimony and then make an interior discussion? Isn't that right?
they have to be able to respond, and they can't once we close the hearing.
Okay.
According to the plat that they've given, which shows where they wish to put the deck would be away from the easement. And so, because there's a rear easement on their property, so they might not be able to make as big a deck as, or actually, I'm sorry, it says a 15-foot clearance from the pool to any structure or easement. So, they're 15 feet from the easement, and the easement, I believe, is a 10-foot easement, so they're currently 25 feet off the property line. Are you folks going to be willing to shift the pool back towards the rear line to meet the National Electrical Code requirements?
You shift the pool. Yeah, because
So it's not just the electric that has to shift the whole.
I think we gotta pull a Julie and then,
Yeah,
Figure
because
out where
that'll
we're at.
determine it, I mean, they'll have to have it duly to know hopefully exactly, give or take 18 inches either side of the line, where their main power is and then that determination. But you can make that part of your requirements in your findings of fact and your recommendation, because you can make a recommendation if you decide that you wanted to prove that you put conditions on the variance.
Is the deck going to be above the pool? It's not gonna go around it, or is it gonna be like you're gonna build a deck with the stairs and a platform up top?
There's on the plan they showed, it says something like
Which
that.
one?
It was on page 6 of 7 of variation application.
So the deck will go around the pool? Okay.
At the height of the edge of the top of the pool, right?
And then will the bottom part of it be enclosed, like with lattice or anything, or?
I think slats is what they were going
We're
to do,
gonna do, yeah.
as opposed to lattice. And we do plan to landscape around the pool as well. Obviously, you know, we want it to look nice and as well, so we do plan to.
Put some bushes along there that'll give it some color.
Okay.
What actually are the requirements for above-ground pools in the village? I mean, before I thought above-ground pools were not, authorized.
Now, above-ground pools are authorized. The requirement on any swimming pool currently is that the village requires a 3-foot clear walkway around the pool and appurtenances, and then a 48-inch fence. What some people have chosen to do in lieu of that, because they want a deck around the pool, is they flip their walkway around on the deck, and then they have the railing, which far exceeds the 48-inch requirement off the ground. And that gives them more use around their pool.
So the deck itself, the width of the deck would have to be a minimum of 3 feet.
Correct, and they're proposing 42 inches,
Okay.
which exceeds that.
Any more questions? Ask the petitioners. If not, I will close the public hearing and we will discuss the possibilities out here and make findings of fact regarding the proposed petition.
I can't escape the fact that they seem to have knowingly proceeded without a permit. I think we might want to consider that as one of our findings of fact.
Am I allowed to comment?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you're not.
No, once the hearing is closed, no comments allowed. This is discussion between the commission.
I'd like to note that none of the adjoining neighbors are not here complaining about their pool, which is already up. And so it's not a hindrance to anyone in the area.
If it's approved, does it set a precedent, that anyone else can come in and?
Each variance is a standalone decision.
Right, okay.
And should a similar situation arise where somebody would want to put it in a similar location, she would be offered the option of asking for variance. And then based upon the findings of fact in that particular case, it would be a separate determination.
And assuming if we can take care of the electric problem, the main difficulty is the fact that this is in the side yard. Is that what I'm relying on?
It's purely the side yard that was the stop for issuing a permit. Because you're not allowed to do that by that one part of the sentence in that requirement.
Given the size and shape of their lot, it would have been a reasonable request that had been made before the pool had been put in. I'm finding it a little unreasonable now.
And to put it more towards Deer Lane in the back of the house conflicts with the septic field, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And potentially the easement.
Yeah, if you look at the GIS system, you can basically see in the front yard, the leach lines that are between the cul-de-sac and Deer. The challenge is that according to their approved plan by Kane County, their expansion field is in the rear of the house, again towards Deer. So they would not be allowed to put it over the expansion field either unless they got a sign up from Kane County. And because they're in a cul-de-sac also, the houses don't sit in the same manner as you would on a straight street. And so the house next door to them actually sits back further. If you're looking at the GIS, if the house had been canted slightly to the right, that house would have been more in line with the rear of these people's house as well.
So in reality, where the pool currently is the only place it can go if there's a pool.
Yes, or slightly back towards the neighbor's pool that's in the rear yard.
Mhm.
Yeah, because coming any further forward, they'd be basically into the front yard.
Yep.
They have a very unique lot. So far we have findings of fact that no permit was issued and they put the pool up anyway. None of the adjoining neighbors have shown here to testify, nor have they voiced any complaints.
The applicant has to get a permit no matter what, is that correct?
Correct.
And it have to comply with the electrical codes.
Correct. And that would permit and meet all building and electrical codes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance for the pool, providing all other aspects of permit inspections are strictly adhered to in all regards.
Can I get a second for that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
did I hear correctly, for approval?
I'm sorry.
You want to approve, correct?
Now approving subject to them fulfilling everything strictly as if they had the permit inspections, everything else on everything else. I mean, no other variances that would go along with it, just this location variance.
And Mr. Boulding, you seconded that, correct?
Thank
Mr. Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Boulding.
Yes.
Ms. Buskey.
No,
Mr. Fuqua.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
No,
Mr. Copaz.
Yes.
Mr. Plath.
No.
And Mr. Rosader, so we have. We have a tie vote.
Well, we take it to the village board and say it was tied, we didn't make a recommendation, that's all we can
Yeah,
do.
that's fine. And you'll need to authorize, so do we have a motion to that the chair,
Yes, also move.
Yeah, that's a motion for the chair or the chair's appointee to bring the information to the village board. Okay, we have a motion and we have a second.
No, I was the motion.
she's.
I know you were the motion, she
Oh,
Oh, he's
seconded
the
it.
second, okay.
Sorry, didn't,
Sorry, I
sorry,
couldn't
didn't
see
hear
over
it.
my shoulder.
That's all right.
You don't revise the back of your head?
Okay, so Mr. Bolding,
Most open
Yes.
to.
Ms. Buskey,
Yes.
Mr. Pupa.
Yes,
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Kopacz?
Yes.
And Ms. Plath.
Yes.
Okay,
all right, the village board, well, the village board have to make a final decision no matter what, so we will bring it to the village board and they will make the final recommendation on that. You're welcome to stay if you would like, or we're gonna bring the next group in.
Okay.
Okay.
straight ahead. 12 o'clock. They've been duly summoned.
I guess that would be 12 o'clock, that's north, so.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi, Gracie.
I'm John Miles, the treasurer of Sleepy Hollow, Bluffs of Sleepy Hollow. And this is my bodyguard.
You're welcome.
And before you start the meeting tonight for this part of it, I'm gonna sit in the chair over there. I live in Sleepy Hollow with the Bluffs over there, and for the last 10 years, I was the president of the homeowners association.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to take a leave of absence on this.
That's fine.
You'll be emotional support for us.
I will cry all I can.
We have the, we have a problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we saw the one.
Yeah, there are 5 of you. Okay.
Hey, you have the time.
Mr. Miles still needs to be sworn in.
I'll
So,
swear you in, please. Swear the testimony you will give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
sorry, look like pages here. For the certificate of publication, for this particular public hearing, the official certification was received from Paddock Publications, Fox Valley Daily Herald. It was duly published on August 26th of 2020. And the notice of public hearing was read as legal notice is hereby given to all persons that the Sleepy Hollow Planning and Zoning Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 10th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. or soon after 6:30 as may be possible at the Sleepy Hollow Village Hall, 1 Thoroughbred Lane, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois. Purpose of the hearing is to consider testimony and make a determination regarding an application by the Bluffs of Sleepy Hollow Homeowners Association as petitioner. The petitioner has filed with the Village of Sleepy Hollow an application for a variance from section 8-3A-3.9.f of the Village of Sleepy Hollow zoning code. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow a decorative plastic split rail fence to be installed that exceeds the allowable length. The property is located at the northwest corner of Bunkoski Road and River Ridge Drive, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois 60118, and is identified by PIN 03-33-228-001. The legal description of the subject property is the Bluffs, Parcel A, Detention Drainage Easement Subdivision, the Bluffs Range Code 8E Township 42N. All parties who have an interest in this proposal are encouraged to attend this meeting and provide testimony as appropriate or may provide written testimony. Written correspondence should be directed to the Planning and Zoning Commission, CO Village Clerk, 1 Thoroughbred Lane, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois, 60118, or may be submitted electronically to amills@sleepyhollowill.org by 3 p.m. September 10, 2020. In light of the current COVID-19 public health emergency and the prohibition of large public gatherings, the Planning and Zoning Commission will allow the public to attend the meeting remotely. Social distancing and compliance with state requirements will be met. While every accommodation will be made to allow those who wish to be present, in-person attendance may be limited from time to time due to spacing requirements. Details regarding how to attend the virtual hearing will be posted on the village's website, http://www.sleepyhollowill.org, and posted on the village hall's front door at least 48 hours prior to the hearing. The application is on file with the Village of Sleepy Hollow's Clerk's Office, 1 Thoroughbred Lane, Sleepy Hollow, Illinois, and may be viewed at this location during normal village hours with prior coordination, as the village hall is currently closed to the public due to COVID-19. Inquiries regarding the application may be made to the code official at 630-816-8455. Herein ends the reading of the notice of public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is open. Please make your case on to why we should allow a fence in this location.
So we have responsibility for the entrance of to Sleepy Hollow community through the Bluffs of Sleepy Hollow off of Untitled Road. We spend a lot of time and energy working on the beautification of that area. We think it's one of the best looking entrances to our communities. Maintaining the signs, the planting beds, the retention basin, and everything else. There is an existing split rail fence made out of natural materials that has been very difficult to maintain for the last 6-7 years. We had to replace fence posts, we've had to replace rails, we've had spent hundreds of dollars a year for the last 3 or 4 years to try and keep this fence in existence, and it just became apparent to us that it's a dying proposition. Therefore, we went out to try and find a replacement. We found a vinyl split rail fence that we can replace the existing fence with from a local contractor. They will put a fence in, which is at our expense. The installation and removal of the existing fence will be done by us. And there is a lifetime warranty on the fence that we're planning to replace it with. I have provided the board of directors with the pictures of the fence. And we think it's a way to beautify our entrance to our community and continue to keep in line with what you guys want in terms of beautification of the property.
Did you by any chance bring a sample of what the fence?
I can go over to Home Depot and look at it, and I sent us pictures of the fence. No, it's just a two.
Yeah, I
Rail.
see that, but some of them look plastic and some of them look just like painted wood.
No, this is pure vinyl.
Okay, so it isn't made to look like faux wood?
No,
Why is a fence necessary here?
the fence was there when we moved in 25 years ago.
No, the fence was developed.
When the place was developed. And
If-
we've been trying to maintain that fence ever since.
Okay,
I
but
think-
there's a steep hill.
I think the reason we have a fence there is to make sure that somebody walking down the hill over the property, if you take a look at the entrance, there's a 6 or 7 foot drop on a brick retaining wall. And it's just kind of a stopping people from walking down there and falling over, plus it's kind of a beautification of the property.
Barb, was this fence that's currently there approved previously?
There is nothing in the village record, and it, from what I understand, it probably pre-existed annexation into the village. I don't have anything documenting that. That's the only thing I can think of, because anyone that I've talked to has said, oh, it's been there basically forever kind of thing. It was put there by the developer originally. I,
Protection from the retention and detention ponds, what I understand.
Barbara, can I speak to that? I mean, I'm by that thing all the time. I know it very well. You gotta look for the fence to see it, but when that area was developed, we live over in Acorn, so we're not far from it. When it was developed, before they developed those houses on the hill there's like 3 of them as they go around. The retention basin held water then, and it held probably 3-4 feet of water. So it was constantly filled. But they put that fence up because the houses weren't built at that point, and anybody coming down that hill would would just keep right on going down to like the retaining wall they had at that time and right into the pond or into the retention basin. And it was put up for decorative too, but it was put up for safety before. And the houses are still there. Yeah, there's some shrubs and prairie grass and stuff like that. But I would say it's more for safety too and decorative also. But if you drive down Bunkoski, you can see it from one end to the other. It looks pretty bad right now because pieces are broken, there's pieces falling down and stuff like that. So it's in pretty disarray right now. But it does add, a safety factor to it, even though, I mean, there were some children in some of the houses up there too, but not that it would stop them, but they'd have something to grab onto, if they did fall or whatever.
I'd also like to add that we, the community of the Bluff Sleepy Hollow, passed a special assessment for this fence. It was agreed to by the community. We have appropriated the money. It is in our bank account right now. So there's no cost to Sleepy Hollow for us to put this in. And being it's going to be by a local contractor and guaranteed for life, there's really no bond to the city of Sleepy Hollow for this fence being installed.
I understand you want to put in a fence that's longer than the current fence?
No, just replace the current fence that's there. I don't know where longer came from. No, it's just exactly the same length of what's there.
I may speak to that. The longer it's longer than what's allowed by the zoning ordinance for a decorative fence. And fences by village code are not allowed except for around pools, around patios, on Randall Road, back up. And so when they modified that section of the zoning code, they allowed a decorative fence. But a decorative fence can't be along the lot line, and it's supposed to be a maximum of 10% of a given lot line area. So I believe, if I recall correctly, it's 580 feet. That would mean that lot line had to be 5,800 feet long, which it's not. So that's why they are coming in for variance, because based on that section of the code, I can't authorize a permit. They did request their permit. They're following the procedure. They're asking for variance to allow the longer decorative fence than what is permitted. And of course, the decorative doesn't specify the type of material. However, other sections of the fence code prohibits plastic. So it's up to you folks to make your determination of how you wish to interpret that.
Has anybody seen the pictures of the fence material that we're planning on using?
They were given to all
Yeah,
Okay.
pictures.
I think it's really a nice material. It's what I think I showed you was beige, but it's going to be a white with caps and 2 rails and professionally installed and guaranteed for life. So we don't have to worry about maintaining it after this.
Are there any other fences that this would be near, across from, adjoining?
I
That
think
would be of a
the
different
closest
material.
would be if you go down to Bunkoski and,
The wrought iron?
no, not the wrought iron, but if you keep going down to Sleepy Hollow Road, they have the white, but it's not split rail, it's got the cross
Oh, yeah,
section.
yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of material.
I mean, the decorative fences, I mean, to me, they make a world of difference. If you go out County Line Road, going towards Barrington, I bike out that way all the time. And there's gotta be a half a dozen, lots out there, especially that one, it's the guy that owns, part owner of the Kentucky Derby, whatever his name is, they replaced probably 2 miles of fence, and they're still replacing it with the exact same identical fence, the plastic, and it's final, and I mean, it absolutely looks, I mean, did wonders for the property. But again, that's something totally different, but it's right along the major roads.
Is there a reason why you chose white versus a little more
We think it looks best.
landscape?
I think it stands out, looks really nice, and our intention is also to have our landscaper not only mow the short section in front of the fence, but around the fence, so it looks like it's community property throughout the entire area. I don't know if you've been down to the front of our entrance, but we've mowed around the front planting beds, and we put plant materials in there and trying to beautify that area. And we're just trying to enhance the look of the front entrance to our community and your community also.
So would the fence be on community property, or would the fence be on residential border?
It's not a lien, what do you call it? What?
Easement?
Easement, it's on an easement. You own the easement.
Does it an easement for the drainage?
Yeah,
Okay, it doesn't impede the drainage.
absolutely not.
It sits high.
Okay.
It's actually all the way in the back, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, it's in back behind the
Retention
pond
basin.
above the fence.
Basically between the houses and the retention area.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, I'm looking at it.
So if originally it was intended to perhaps be an element of safety because of the retention pond, have you given thought to not replacing the entire length of the current unit because circumstances have changed in the 25 years or however long it's been since it was put up?
no, we've not given thought to that. Why do you ask that question? I don't understand.
My thinking was, at the moment, it could be construed, should we say, as a property fence, shall I say, versus strictly a decorative fence. And if it's decorative, it doesn't have to be follow current lines, or it could be take on a different form.
So the fence, there is a fence that exists that is there. And our intention is just to replace the length of the fence that is there with a better fence. The fence that is there is falling down, falling apart, rotting away, and it's ugly.
Would there be any problem if there was no fence at all? Or is it just?
You tell me when you step down over that wall.
It's a drop off. I mean, I do a lot of yard work and maintaining down there, and it's
It's good to have the fence as a
The
warning.
fence, I mean, the drop off is probably, I don't know, 8-10 feet.
Okay,
It's high.
Are you familiar with the area or no?
not very, no. I'm going off of this, that's why I asked the question.
I mean, maybe, Don, you in the neighborhood, you can explain the. from there to-
I know the area, I know where the houses
It's
are.
full, and then after the retention pond, there's this huge retaining wall, which starts at 1 foot and goes up to 7 or 8 feet and then back down
Okay,
to the property. And about 3 feet behind the retention wall is a split rail fence currently, which is rotting and falling apart.
Aesthetically, the area is well maintained. I mean, it's probably one of the better maintained ones in all of Sleepy Hollow. I mean, you've got some in Saddle Club and all that, but I mean, they do for not costing the village a dime, they do an excellent job of maintaining it.
okay.
We put in,
I don't go
we put
back
in a
that
light
way
to
very
light a entrance fence. We just changed that light over to LED lighting to make it better.
Do you have any more information you want to give to the board? Or is that enough?
No, I think that we presented our request. I think you asked good questions. I think we replied to them. I think we're in good shape.
Anybody else want to ask them any more questions?
Yeah, does a decorative fence have any different rules regarding a fence as far as structural? Posts in the ground, things like, it would be just as strong as a decorative fence?
They still have to go down a minimum of 36 inches for the fence post holes. And if they chose to go to 42 for the frost line, would be a better recommendation, but that would be up to them.
Okay.
Minimum we require is 36.
Okay, thank you.
So this is being installed by Home Depot, which we have warranty and contract with.
And they're gonna apply for a permit to put this fence
We're
in?
waiting for you to give us a permit.
They've already applied for the permit. It's been denied based on the zoning.
That's why they're asking for variance.
Correct.
We're getting the
Oh,
variance.
yeah.
All right, well, with that, I'll close the testimony, and then we will have a discussion here before we make a vote. Comment I would like to make is, yes, this fence that's out there right now that exists is falling down and needs to be replaced. And the nice thing about putting a fence along top of the detention pond, even if some kid goes down there and sneaks underneath the fence, it's a warning that look out, there's something on the other side of this. And it really needs to be put in place with this detention pond. There's no warning other than this fence to stop somebody from coming down a hill and falling down and breaking their neck.
I would do a finding of fact that they have followed procedure and they have sought permits in advance. So
I would say that the white fence go along with white fencing across the way. And so it isn't, it's not a detraction, it's almost follows suit.
we could make a third, I guess we could make a third finding of fact that there is a safety issue involved with this fence. It serves a safety purpose.
Yeah, even though somebody could bust through it, I guess.
Yeah,
But it's a warning, no matter
Yeah.
what, it's a warning saying, look out, there's something here.
And I think the appearance would be far improved.
Yeah, well, certainly.
May I read these back so I have them? I did take some liberty to expand it. Number one, have followed applicant or petitioner has followed procedures and sought permits in advance. The white fence goes along with fencing installed across the south side of Bonkoski. I'm just expanding it so somebody doesn't think they have a fence
Exactly.
across River Road, okay?
Yeah.
And the fence serves as a safety measure. And the appearance is what far improved over,
Improves what's currently there.
Absolutely.
far improved. Thank you.
Beautification of the village.
That there is a fence currently there as well.
Code enforcement officer doesn't have to give us a ticket now.
Okay, with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to,
A motion we approve the variance. the fence.
Recommendation. Okay.
I'll second that.
second, roll call then.
Mr. Bolding,
Yes.
Ms. Buskey,
Aye.
Mr. Pupa,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Mr. Plass. Oh, I'm sorry, abstain, I'm sorry, forgive me.
Understand?
I just get on the roll with doing a roll call, you know?
I was ready to say yes.
My
No
fault.
need.
Abstentions, Kyle, not positive.
Okay, and let's see, somebody wish to make motion to move forward to village board this recommendation?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need a motion
Yes,
to,
I give the motion.
Ms. Spaulding?
okay.
And I'll second it.
Okay,
Roll call on that too.
Yes, Mr. Boulding,
Yes.
Ms. Buskey,
Yes,
Mr. Fuqua,
Yes,
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes,
Mr. Pass.
Yes,
Motion passes in both instances.
okay, with that, we're done with your portion of this meeting. You're welcome to stay or take off.
The question is, when can I pick up a building permit?
Has to go
It's
to
got to go to the village
village
board
board.
first, and they have to approve it,
Actually,
and
village board?
No, we're
No.
planning, it's
this
planning
is
and zoning.
planning and zoning.
Okay.
so many hoops.
Okay,
Everything's correct, then? According to Hoyle, they should have it on the agenda for Monday, the 21st. And on Tuesday, the 22nd.
Okay, great.
very good.
Thank you so
Thank you,
very
Dan.
much. Thank you.
Thank you for your cooperation and working with us.
Moving on, we have any old business. Is there any old business we need to discuss? And if not, I open it up for public comments. We have nobody that's public. Any comments from anybody on the board? Okay, then we move on to new business, possible zoning code changes.
Through the time of going through some things, and we've had some situations with driveways, we've had situations with this, which if you look was, as far as the swimming pool, the zoning regulations embedded into the building regulations. And there are several other items that have come about. We've got a church that lost its sign due to an accident, and they want to put up an LED sign. LED signs are not permitted in the village. So there are various areas of the zoning code that need to be looked at least it's my opinion, and I would request that assistance that, not tonight, but just for future thought, the willingness of the PZC to start looking at the zoning code and coming up with some recommendations for changes to make it a more user-friendly, shall we say, document.
You want us to review the entire zoning code?
Well, what I would like to do is bring some ideas and recommendations to you folks to consider. Right now, there are no actually defined ways of doing the, second, just so you know, it's Joan, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be doing the minutes for the meeting.
Oh, they only told me the public hearings.
No,
That's what
it's-
Mr. Schuster
you're
said.
supposed to be doing the minutes of the meeting too, is what I had agreed with Kathy.
Oh, well then please, one moment, I'm sorry. I was told it was only the public hearings.
No, it's the full meeting
Okay,
minutes.
well, just give me 1 second then, let me redo.
Sorry, I suddenly realized you were packing up there.
Well, yeah, because normally when I work with Mr. Schuster, it's solely public hearings, and so that's why
No,
I
I
didn't.
requested.
No problem, no problem, let me just reset up.
Thank you.
Sorry, everyone, I apologize for any
No,
miscommunication.
That's
No.
fine.
A little different, so that's okay. Sorry about that.
Yes. Now, all of a sudden I realized as I was talking.
Well, like I said, in the norm, when I work with Mr. Schuster, it's solely public hearings, so that's why I didn't know
Yeah, no,
what was
Because I-
happening there. So no problem, let me just give me a moment here and we'll get ourselves going again. Sorry about that.
You're probably filling from remembering White Road.
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. I did, again, I that was not communicated to me, so.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I hope you don't have to remember every single thing that was there.
But
so.
there wasn't much, there was no old business, there were no public.
And that's good,
comments,
so-
and-
Okay, all right, go ahead, I'm so sorry.
So anyway, right now, in the zoning code, there are no appeals processes. The only thing that's in there is for special use. So like this variance process that we just went through is not defined in your code. Normally, the statements of, or the findings of fact are actually the questions that you need to ask, and coming up with findings of fact are actually in the code so that you know how to be guided.
So you want a variance procedure.
That's just one of the items that needs to be tweaked, okay? So, with your permission and guidance, I would like the opportunity to be able to come up with several different items. It's not gonna be next week, it'll probably be in a month or so. But come up with some ideas of things that need to be considered and moved from, say, one part of the municipal code back into the zoning code where it is more appropriate. And also to give more direction and in how to handle such things as variances. Quite frankly, in the time that we've been your staff, this is the first time we've actually come across variances, but then we ended up with 3 in one time. And that's when it came to light that, wait a second, I'm looking through the code and like, there's no process technically established in your municipal code for dealing with variances.
Barbara, instead of looking at just the variances, maybe you better look at the root cause. I mean, they talked about decorative fences. I mean, a lot of these codes were written 25, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it was, years ago. And some of them are a little antiquated or, based on today. I mean, we talk decorative fences. Decorative fences are becoming the norm. I mean, cedar fence is the norm. I know they don't allow fences in a village, but I mean, there should be some reasonable, for people that want to do a decorative type of thing just for a short run or something like that.
Well,
But I think this is why, I think you need to look at the whole, not the whole, but start doing it in little bunches and start looking to see what's really pertinent to today and what's garbage, and get rid of the garbage. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is garbage.
What review alternative materials might be available today that weren't available all those years ago, maybe?
Exactly, and I mean, technically, some metal fences are not supposed to be permitted, but they're one of the safest and most appealing to most people to have around like their swimming pools. So theoretically, a zoning code should be relooked at basically every 5 years to mold with the needs and the desires of the community. It's been a while. There have been certain updates, but in particular fences, they didn't even allow decorative fences until 2 years ago, if I remember correctly. They added that definition in, and quite frankly, the definition's a wee bit challenging and limits to, and that's why this one came in. You can only have 10%. So that's why I had to reject that one. So if you folks are willing to go that route and, if you know of something and want to throw the idea at me, I can work at it and see.
I think we need to add into that an appearance code. Because right now, if somebody goes for a permit for any kind of signage, building frontage, etc., as long as they fulfill the requirements electrically and that, we can't deny it if they want to make it purple.
And I understand, and so those are things that you need to, give me your thoughts and we can try and come up with something for you to review. And I'm not saying let's hit the whole thing, but signs are a concern, and if you're willing to have, like, we ended up with one in the village, but it was done without a code to support it.
Right.
So, and like I said, the church up on Randall lost their sign due to an accident. They've been wanting to put up a sign similar to what the fire department now has. They came to me like 4 or 5 years ago, and every time that sign needs to be updated, they want to do that. They don't want one of these bright flashing ones. They just want to be able to give the information without having to go out there in the middle of winter and change letters or something like that. So,
Also, if I may,
please,
the business district, signage in the business district is real concern. That's
why I'm bringing that up.
That's been a bit of a pain under our saddle for a while.
Right.
We said no neon.
Yeah. That's what I'm,
LED is not neon, and they can do a heck of a lot more with LED.
yeah.
that's what I'm
exactly.
talking about, is the
Yeah.
business
And the
district.
businesses up there.
It could go into the residential as well, but business district is
Business
what I'm
district
mainly
is
bringing it up
signage.
for.
We need to help those guys and find out, what's more in tune to advertising and street display. One of the big things, we don't allow, what are those banners?
Pin feathers or pin signs,
Pin
feather signs, I
yeah.
think they're called.
Feather signs, yeah.
And
Dunkin'
you
Donuts
could-
signs?
Dunkin' Donuts, we're back and forth with them over inflatable,
Yeah, and,
I don't know what inflatable balloons that are basically signs.
yeah,
We need to look at things like that. If
Right.
we're gonna allow it, or we're gonna put them, on, 14 days and they gotta come down. So, I'll take it down when it looks bad then.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
so,
But that's one I really,
It does sound like what you're looking for is a comprehensive run through the zoning code.
mhm.
well, that wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah,
Well, there is a lot
If
because
you look at our
One piece at a
code
time, yeah.
it's,
Yeah, because if we do it one piece at a time, we'll look at what just the difference is.
for 60 some odd years.
Yeah.
And, it's been off the original, we probably took the original off of a shelf in Chicago in 1956,
Yeah.
and we've plagiarized since.
and there are a lot of areas, I mean, to find out when somebody wants to ask about a single-family dwelling, I have to go to 4 different locations within the zoning code where they should all be just right in a row within the R1 district or the R2, but you have to sit there and piecemeal because they have some things that apply to all districts. And then you have to go to this side. The size of a house is in the last page of the residential R1 district, and it should be more upfront kind of thing. Some of it needs to just be shuffled around, but there's a lot of things that are missing, shall I say. So anyway, if you'd be willing to work with me on that, give me your ideas of areas like the signage, what you want to have, what you don't want to have. So when we come up with something, it's understandable.
And you have on here, establish a meeting date. Is that something we need to do at this point, or we need to collect things and then make a meeting date?
Well, a few times ago when we met, there was some discussion about establishing an actual day of the month that we would meet. And the one that was talked about was the third Thursday of the month. And it would then go on to the village calendar. So when people would apply for things, whether it's a special use variance or anything like that, they would know, and it would be a more established date. So you can either vote on one tonight, or you can think about it, and we can come up with another meeting date. But that way, everybody would always know that we need to plan for this particular day of the month. If there's nothing for the agenda, then it's just canceled. But then we always have something, instead of trying to come up with like, well, we've got these 5 dates, which date can we get a quorum, where hopefully it'd be a little easier if we have an established meeting date that everybody can kind of plan in their backs of their mind when they're planning their personal schedule, that, oh, we're gonna have a planning and zoning meeting.
And we did discuss that, but we can rehash that and make a point. So why don't we go back and think about it, and I will send an email out, and you guys respond to it, and we'll talk about a date for that. How's that sound?
You could ask everybody right now, the third Thursday, get it over with. Third Thursday of
That'd be
every
fine
month,
with
or
me.
second Thursday, or whatever.
Thursdays, I happen
Let's
to
not
be,
procrastinate.
this particular Thursday work, but normally Thursdays are a problem. I lead a study group, a Bible study group on Thursday night.
What day might be better? The first And the third,
Wednesdays are good.
the first and third Mondays obviously are blocked by the village board, so we can't do that. President Pickett, is there any other scheduled meeting date? I'm not aware of anything.
I'll be
So-
in this room.
What other
Wednesday?
day?
Wednesday
Wednesday worked for me very well.
works for me.
Which Wednesday? Second, third,
Third Wednesday?
third Wednesday of the month?
Is that work for you, Mr. Bull?
Good as any at the moment. I'm not travelling on business.
Okay,
Business travel kind of went.
Would somebody
Yeah.
like to make such a motion?
All right, I move we set aside the third Wednesday of the month for planning and zoning commission scheduling purposes.
At what time?
That's a good question.
so no later than 7 o'clock.
Yeah, no later than 7. Do we want to make it 6:30?
6:30 is not bad as far as I'm concerned.
I'm okay with 6:30.
Everybody else, 6:30?
Okay. At 6:30 PM.
Okay.
As opposed to AM.
Hey, just be careful.
Any second?
Oh, is there a second to that motion?
I'll make a second.
Okay,
Okay.
we need a roll call for this?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Bolding,
Yes.
Ms. Buskey,
Aye.
Mr. Pupa,
Yes,
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Kopass,
Yeah.
and Mr. Plath.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
okay. And the last piece of business I want to say is I'm going to assign you to take care of the business at the village board meeting, please.
Okay? And we would need a motion for
A
adjournment,
motion for adjournment,
I'll motion to adjourn.
started.
and that's Mr. Hoffman, and who wishes to
A
second?
second for that?
And we need a roll call for that too. Who did I see for second? I missed who seconded.
Sure.
Sure.
All right,
You pick one.
okay. So we go Mr. Bolding.
No.
Ms. Buskey,
I guess.
Mr. Pupa,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Comitz.
Yes.
Mr. Plath.
Yes.
Motion, our meeting adjourned.
Wow.
And that
Thank
went
you
through
all.
faster than I thought it was going to tonight.
Man, I
Thank
thought
you
we were
very
going to
much.
be here all night.
Thank you very much, all of you.
My wife would be appreciative.
Yeah. Thank you.
I took a look at the agenda. I thought we were going to have a walk.
You need
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why I'm trying to give you as much information.
Oh, very helpful.
No,
Where
I hear you're coming to my house tomorrow.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's right.
I had a road.
And the guy that installed, actually, they started at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder when they were gonna get working on it.
Oh, yeah, it's